well, back again to Nioh, and, yeah, the last part did not go off very swimmingly at all. For I think I've run into probably the worst boss yet in Nioh, and oh god, this DLC has been a one pain in the ass after another. Now, in retrospect, I do like the level layouts for all for all the missions in the Dragon of the North. What has bogged it down considerably has been the boss fights. I have not enjoyed the boss fights in this DLC at all. Yokai Country's boss fight was random with the whole centipede shtick, meaning you couldn't keep track of what he was doing. Masamune was ridiculously difficult due to being in a very small environment with barely anywhere to go. Although, to his credit, he does have a weakness in that you kind of have to wait out his attacks more than actually go on against him, like I did 90% of the time until it finally hit me. Wait a minute, I'm gonna try not attacking him and let him just waste his attacks instead. Well, now we've come to the last and worst of them, Maria, who's been the antagonist built up throughout this entire chapter. She is horrible. She is without a doubt the worst designed boss out of all of them. Why is she the worst designed out of all of them, if not all so far in Nioh? Two reasons. She's badly designed as a character, and the level sucks. The arena she's in sucks. First, it's the same problem I have with Masamune. You're cramped in the smallest environment possible where you can barely move around. Not helped by the fact that she has wave attacks, just like Masamune, that come out super fast, except they're worse because they cover a wider area, leaving you barely any room to dodge. Now, it just occurred to me, the Onryuki was a boss fight that was in a very small area. Why don't I have the same complaints about him? Well, here's the difference between Maria and Onryuki. The Onryuki was slow. Really slow by comparison. He hit hard and could kill you in one hit if you weren't paying attention, but at the very least you could track his movements and see him coming. Maria, on the other hand, is super fast. On top of that, she covers a wide area, having a grapple attack that you can't even read. You know how in a lot of the other grapple attacks for all the other enemies, they have that cloud that surrounds them? Well, she just whips her hand out in like a gold glitter, and you can't even see it coming. It just happens, and you have to deal with it. Not helped by the fact that she also breaks the fundamental gameplay of the living weapon, or at the very least, the talismans. Every high-leveled enemy or boss that ever uses a talisman or a living weapon usually has a limit to how long they can use it, either due to time or they just using up the power. Well, here's the problem. Maria does not have that limit. Once you get her down to half health, she turns that glowy sword of hers on, and you cannot stop it. There is no limit to it. It does not run out of time. You can't even knock her out of using it like you could with any of the other bosses. So she's essentially broken. She's antithetical to the rules of the game. I can understand going back and leveling up for bosses that are hard. I understand that, but when you have an enemy like this that essentially breaks the game, it goes from what could be a fun if very tedious fight to skull-smashingly stupid. And this has been the epitome of stupid, and last night was really, really, it was so bad. And the game, and for whatever reason, and the why it ended the way it did was because my fucking internet went kaput for like no reason, which I'm kind of glad it did, because it allowed me to, because it snapped me out of my rage-induced stupor, and I could go and level up a bit. And sadly, I was not able to go as much as I'd like. I'm like 177 instead of like 180 I'd like to be, but but again, this also stems back to one of the core problems I have with Nioh as a game. The leveling system is far too overdone, too spiked. I mentioned this last time, where it used to be, to some degree, if not to a lot of older RPG style games, where a lot of enemies, including bosses, would be matched up to, if not a few levels below the player. But that's not been the case with a lot of RPGs these days. To quote Razor Fist, it's something a lot of our hardcore RPG nerds bemoan for not being difficult enough. Yeah. Well, here's the problem. Nioh is a game that takes that style of leveling and completely abuses it to the point that you're essentially Wile E. Coyote trying to catch up to the Roadrunner, and it gets boring and tedious as hell. It's honestly not fun. If anything, it just makes the game pad itself out longer than I honestly would like. I've been at this game for almost a month and a half, and it has not ceased, DLC or otherwise. And the only reason why I haven't moved on to any other games at this point is because I just want to get the whole thing done. And it's one of those games where if I slack off and completely forget what I'm doing, I'm gonna lose a lot. And I'd rather not do that. I'd rather complete it all in one fell swoop and only see doing in and out playthroughs for games that are much simpler, small, and not as difficult. And as for the leveling system, yeah, it's bad. It really is. And not being difficult enough. Like, no, there's being difficult, and then there's what the fuck. Well, assholes, Merry fucking Christmas. Here's your picture-perfect, uber-difficult RPG. Venture into the venture anywhere into any level that's 10 to 20, 50 points ahead of you, and you die within 2 seconds. Hope you saved recently, you querulous, insufferable shitheels. So yeah, long story short, too late. Spiritstone Huntress, worst boss in the game so far. And what is in a series of very, very disappointing boss fights in a DLC that otherwise has excellently designed levels. So I leveled up a little bit, got re-equipped, and leveled up some hopefully better weapons and armor. So hopefully that'll do stuff for me. And I'm gonna, instead of the dual swords, I'm gonna try going with the slow approach with the one regular blade. Because before I would use the dual blade to try and speed things up, but apparently that speed also accounts for me accidentally rushing through it and leaving myself open more than I'd like, which again is just retarded. Okay, so, and I also took advice from one of my viewers from last night, in which I switched back to my old she-wolf friend Kato, because I have to be honest, Ayakumori has let me down with this one. He's far too weak to be a good defensive spirit. I like him for his attack, for his speed boosts, but his speed boosts are not really helping me here. If anything, his weak defenses are making me waste my Amrita and Spirit Gauge more than anything else, and if anything, I need a better balance in ki and power instead of just the speed. Blue Dragon I haven't had much of a chance to use, and I don't think I will be able to use him in this one because he's one of those spirits that is a Spirit Stone hog. Too much to use. So I'm gonna go with old Kato here instead. And I also switched out some of my talismans a bit. Which do I want to do first? Yup, kill me. Yeah, I'm rusty. See why I didn't want to quit the game and go do something else? Yeah, that grab. Can't even tell it. I do feel a little bit more in control of what I'm doing than I ever did with the double swords, I admit. So hopefully the problem is, again, her weapon does not depower, and she's fast, and I have very little room to move anywhere. Okay, poison doesn't seem to work. Yeah, that grab is broken. So broken, it's not even funny. A living weapon that does not have a limit, and a grab that you can't even see coming. Horribly designed. I don't know who it was that directed this DLC, but he needs to be tarred and feathered. Because it shocks me that for the most part balanced main game, you come out with a DLC with a boss that is so antithetical to the whole thing. It's like, what have you done? Come on.
Got her.
Ugh. Fuck you, cheap king bitch. I hate you. Worst designed boss in the game. Fuck. Yes, please, kill her, now. Uh-oh. What now?
There are others who want Amrita for their own battles.
Yes, we figured that out.
에스파니아のしのぎであったか。しかし、一体どこへ？
Ran like a coward.
War is coming. And it's gonna be fierce.
Siege of Osaka, if I think. Sanada Maru, Setsu Province. Who's this schmuck? Uh-oh. The smoldering flames. There's the Siege of Osaka lead-in. And Maria's gonna be involved in that, too. Yay me. I pray to God she isn't. Masamune, I never thought I would meet another who could see demons, let alone defeat them. Now that I have seen you fight, Anjin, I can attest that the rumors of your magnificent strength are true. How do you even walk through doors with that headdress? I'm just saying. Lord Hanzo, if a Spirit Stone war should indeed arise, should we not ally with the Kuro Habaki and Lord Ieyasu? We know a thing or two about Spirit Stones ourselves, don't you? We have Spirit Stones ourselves, you know. Oh, Lord. What is this? Bovine Demon? Cursed Doppelganger. Huh. Well, I know what I'm doing next. Become thy enemy. Okay, so new submissions. However... So yeah, that's finally over, and I made a very wise choice with my choice of weapon. The dual blades, as much as I love them, they're honestly easy to spam with, and spamming and a spamming weapon like that honestly was not working. I honestly should have chosen a different weapon long ago, and if I did, I sadly don't remember. All I remember is just me getting my ass kicked repeatedly in the most asinine ways possible. I don't really care for Onmyo Mage. Okay, what do we got in the titles? Not enough. Character directory. William returned to Japan following a long journey at sea. Yeah, 13 years. After reuniting with Hanzo, he stopped the rebellion led by the Tohoku regional warlord Date Masamune, who was secretly backed by an undercover spy from Spain. Once again, Japan found itself thrown into chaos by forces hoping to use the power of Amrita for military gain. Indeed. Hanzo continued to serve Ieyasu even after William left Japan, keeping watch for anything that might disturb the fragile peace. However, he went missing after settling out to investigate an unsettling rumor in the Tohoku region. William defeated Date Shigezane and saved Hanzo from certain doom, allowing him to use the sacred waters of Mount Ibuki to counteract Shigezane's transformation into a yokai. In turn, Shigezane convinced Masamune to abandon his plans for rebellion, although the Spanish spy behind the situation vanished without a trace, furthering Hanzo's concerns about the mysterious foreign ninja. Yeah, not a ninja. Oh, they're just using that as a placeholder, I suppose. Going through stuff just in case. missions. Masamune was a man of culture, well versed in the arts of theater and song, but it is said that he favored cooking above all other hobbies. So he fancies himself a chef, doesn't he? In the beginning, his interest came out of developing provisions for his troops, but he is known for creating a wide variety of cuisine, including frozen bean curds and zunda, a dish featuring boiled and mashed green soybeans. We'll consider me away from those because I'm not much of a soy person, or beans for that matter, except barbecue baked beans. Those I agree with. There are many miso, fermented soybean paste, storehouses built throughout the town surrounding Aoba Castle, which is said to be the first location in the country to engage in large-scale miso production. Okay, miso soup, that I love. Especially hot and steaming, loaded with tofu. A collection of Masamune's sayings illustrate his thoughts on cooking with the following quote: "A properly served meal is one modestly prepared by the host himself, with ingredients appropriate for the season." Heh. Shigezane. Shigezane's transformation into a yokai was halted due to Hattori Hanzo's use of the sacred waters of Mount Ibuki. Afterwards, Shigezane convinced Masamune to abandon his plans for rebellion. Although he did feel some sense of obligation towards Hanzo, he did little to act upon it, as he knew that Tokugawa Ieyasu had grown old and did not have much time left. Indeed, both men were known not only for their bravery and skill in battle, but also for their keen intellect and strategic acumen. So they're pretty much like Tokugawa 2.0, because a big reason as to how Tokugawa ascended to, Shogun was because he waited a long time for the right moment. Maria. In reality, she is an undercover spy whose mission was to create chaos in Japan in order to capture Amrita and use it for the glory of Spain. Since its naval defeat into England, the Spanish Empire was a shadow of its former self, and hoped to use Amrita to regain its status as a world power. However, thanks to William's efforts, Masamune's rebellion was quelled, and Maria was forced into hiding. However, her words upon departing hinted at much greater chaos and discord yet to come. And she's also the worst designed boss in the entire game so far. And I say so far because I don't know what to expect in the Osaka Siege chapters to follow. Ugh. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break and come back to attempt these 3 side missions. I could have sworn one of them was a double boss. So if that's the case, I'll come back and do that one later, because I prefer doing those with my trusty sidekick than anyone else, especially let alone myself. So I'll be back in 5. Thank you all for watching. Glad to get that headache out of the way once and for all. Thank the Lord.